everyone. I'm Maureen Droney with the Recording Academy Producers and Engineers Wing. Welcome to our fourth and final, for now at least, episode of our Inside the Mix series, where we've been delving into Sony 360 reality audio. Today, we have with us Toru Nakagawa, who works in the Spatial Audio Tech Dev department for Sony Corp, where in 2021, he was named Sony's Outstanding Engineer of the Year. Toru is the technical leader of Sony's 360 VME, which stands for Virtual Mixing Environment. He's been with Sony for 15 years, working in audio signal processing related to spatial acoustics and on Sony 360 VME, which has been developing from scratch for 10 years, not only signal processing algorithms, but also plug-in software and hardware, such as headphones and microphones. Now, Toru is especially happy and excited that after such a long time of development, this technology is being released to market. Joining Toru is Koyuru Okimoto, who is Deputy General Manager in the Spatial Audio Tech Dev department. Since joining Sony in 1999, Koyuru has been engaged in spatial audio technology based on human auditory characteristics. He continues to develop the technology of virtual acoustic space reproduction using headphones and speakers in many Sony products. Since 2015, Koyuru has been leading the team that developed VME, which is designed to reproduce both mixing studio speaker sound and acoustics on headphones with absolute precision. Also joining us will be Hiroyuki Komodo, who many of you may know. Hiro has worked for Sony for more than 30 years, spending most of that time developing and introducing new formats and technologies in the professional audio industry. Moderating this session is multiple immersive audio album Grammy-winning engineer, Michael Romanowski. Now, our format will be the same as our previous webinars, for those of you who've been here before. It's about a half hour of presentation and another half hour for Q&A. So be sure to put your questions in the Zoom Q&A function. Now, over to you, Michael.
Hey, thanks, Maureen. Really appreciate it. And thanks to everybody in the P&E staff. Thank you, Candace and River and Maureen. Thank you guys so much for all the work you've done to make these sessions go very smoothly and hopefully very informatively for everybody that's listening. So thank you guys for everybody else for being here. And as Maureen had stated, if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A. We will get to them either as they're pertinent throughout the conversation or in a Q&A session at the end. When we get done with the presentation. Also, just a special thanks to Koyuru and Toru, you guys. It's for everybody that knows, they're in Japan at the moment and it's 4 o'clock in the morning for them. They got up early to be able to do this. So you guys are superstars. Thank you so much for doing that. With that, let's bring you guys on. Please come on and share your turn your cameras on and say hello to everybody. And if you'd like to introduce yourself, and then we'll get started.
Hi. I'm Koyuru Okimoto. I'm from joining Tokyo, and I'm from Sony R&D. And I like the Maureen explained that I have been working for Sony over 20 years, and I'm responsible for acoustic technology development. And currently, I'm managing the VME development team. Just thank you for giving me this opportunity today.
Thank you for being here. I'm really glad you're here. Toru, would you like to say anything?
Yes, I am Toru Nakagawa, and I'm leading technology of 360 VME. I am happy, really appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you. Well, really glad you're here. We got a good chance to talk. We did a session at NAMM together, and so it's a little quieter here than it was there. So hopefully, we won't have as much problem with shouting over the crowd and such like like NAMM was. Well, let's jump in. Thank you guys so much, and then we'll bring Hiro on in a little bit. So really glad that Hiro is here as well. Let's jump in. Tell us what is 360 VME and explain to the group what it is and how it came to be.
Okay, so may I start my presentation to explain about the VME?
Yeah, that's great. Perfect.
Okay.
And while you're pulling that up, so 10 years, you guys have been working on this for a while. That's amazing. You're, let's say, ahead of the curve, but really thinking ahead about workflow and studio engineers and musicians being creative.
So I started sharing my screen. Can you see my screen right now?
Yes, sir. Looks great.
Okay. First I talk about what is the BME using the presentation material. Okay, 360, the BME. The BME stands for Virtual Mixing Environment. And the BME, we call it just a BME. So a BME is technology that reproduces the sound mixing studio acoustics on headphones with absolute precision. So this is kind of like the binaural technology, but the special part is this technology has the accuracy. This is very accurate. And the how to proceed. So I explain briefly, and we have two phases. The one is measurement, and the one is playback. The first, we measure your own hearing characteristics by microphones at the reference studio. Then we create your own hearing profile for binaural processing. Then you hear the sound using headphones. For example, using the latest Sony model called MV1, that you can hear a personalized space sound to you. So this is the very brief flow of this technology. And I prepared the video to explain this flow, so you can see the flow with the video. It takes just 1 minute.
Oh, great. Let's see that.
Okay, I think you understand the flow.
Great.
Okay, we will start the BME measurement services from end of June. If we want to scan your personal profile, you can contact the BME measurement studio to make an appointment for the scan. Then you can visit the studio to scan your profile using your headphones. And the studio engineer can support to get your profile and the playback software. Then you can install BME software on your machine and load your profile. Now you can start using our software to create immersive audio at your home. And we will start the BME services from end of June from these 3 studios, 2 from United States and the 1 from Japan. So please contact to the studio if you are interested in getting your profile. You can see these information from our website. So thank you very much. This is the very brief overview of BME technology. BME.
So let's real quick. So of the 3 studios, so of note there, you've got 3 different places. Will you be for convenience of engineers that are scattered around the world, will you be looking at other studios? Are you going to be adding places that may make it easier for people to get to and schedule appointments?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So you mean the other studio? Or...
Yeah, well, just looking at places that may be more convenient if somebody is in Paris. For example.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, currently we are thinking about expanding our services to other area or other studios. Yeah, but currently, we decided to start from these 3 studios.
Cool, great. Thank you for sharing that. Let's talk about. Well, I saw something in the video. You saw the microphones going in the ears. Let's bring Hiro on for a moment. Hiro, do you want to talk about the actual process of taking the measurement? I think you've got the system with you right now. Can you walk people through that?
Okay, so as in the video showing, so we are using this kind of the special microphone. This is the right, this is the left, and a very spring and very specially made. And you can put this microphone into your ears, both sides. And so this catches all the speakers, sweep tone or pink noise coming from the speakers. And also we are using headphone. And after the sweep tone and the pink noise is done, so we are going to the wear the headphone like this, and we're gonna sweep and the pink noise again in the headphone. That is a simple process. So maybe it's gonna take some 5 minutes per person. But a very important thing is we learn from the 2 guys from Tokyo is a very, sensitive of the microphone positions. So deeper the better, and don't move during the measurement. So that is a very important. I heard. That's it. It's correct.
Got it. Great. Yes. Well, okay. So interesting. So deeper the better. So getting them in, obviously you're getting a better picture of the sound getting into your internal ear. Are there other things about the room that's important? For example, live room versus dead room, any characteristics of the room that are important to get a good reading?
Yep.
Yes.
So
okay.
all the elements like room acoustics and some speaker characteristics and any single item is affect to the measurement.
So very dependent on the room, and like as you said, the speaker, the playback system as well. Because that's what you're capturing. You're listening to the sound of the speakers in that room. What about headphones? You held up a pair of headphones. Are special headphones needed to be able to use 360 VME?
Yeah, as a start of a VME virtual mixing environment, so this year is a kind of a first proof of concept. So we need to more learning because of this technology is in the music industries. So that's why to give the most accurate result. So this headphone and some little number of the headphone is only starting use in this VME because Sony knows each headphone's characteristics.
That makes sense. Will it be expanding to in the future of being able to use other headphones if people have personal preferences, let's say, of headphones they like to use?
Technically, it's possible, totally possible. But this is again, it's a proof of concept. We'd like to start most accurate and very good experience for the people who try the VME. So that's why we are using Sony's headphone.
Great. That seems like a perfect place to start. It's a known quantity, right? Yeah, exactly. Let's talk the technology side of it. Would either of you gentlemen like to talk about the technology involved in coming up with this? How are you handling? How did you create the technology? I know this is another iteration. I've seen one a few years ago, and then what you're doing this year, and as your presentation at NAMM, and I've been in your room, Hiro, where you are right now, and had the experience myself. Can you talk about the technology and how you got to where you are with this current system?
Okay, I explained about the VME technology using my presentation materials. Okay, like I said, the VME is a kind of a binaural technology. So in order to achieve spatial audio reproduction on headphones, we utilize the human hearing characteristics. It's called the HRTF. HRTF is human auditory characteristics. This stands for head-related transfer functions. And it includes the time and the level difference of the sound, reaching the left and the right ears, and our frequency characteristics of each direction of sound arrival. And the thinking about your ear shape. So in fact, so everyone has a different ear shape like this. And a sound signal reach to your eardrum after some reflection, depending on your ear shape. So it means that everyone is hearing different sound and everyone has different HRTS. So yeah, because so you have the different ear shape. In order to achieve the accurate reproduction on headphones, so we are currently focusing on the differences. So we needed the personalization, customization technology. And then now let's see the actual HRTF data by using that type of contour diagram. This chart shows HRTF in median plane. Median plane is this plane, right? And the horizontal.
Front to back.
Yeah, yes. Horizontal axis is a frequency, and the vertical axis is angle. And in this case, 0 degrees, that means top of your head, and 90 degrees means your front. And the red part is at the peak area, and also blue is the notches and the deep area. And so so you can see that it will change depending on the angle. And for example, these characteristics then are around the 90 degree, the data from your front. And this data, this is my own HRTF. We actually the measured using our system. And then we change the chart. This chart shows HRTF in this case, horizontal plane. The x-axis is a frequency, and this is an angle. And in this case, 0 degree means your front, and the 90 is your right. And also, of course, also red is a peak, and the blue is a deep notch area. And also, this is my own HRTF. And next, we're gonna see the individual differences in HRTS. So these are the HRTS in horizontal plane and of 3 people. So you can see, you please focus on these red circle area, so you can see difference, peaks and notches pattern in this area. And so we found that there are differences in HRTFs and from person to person. And we did the subjective evaluation about our technology, HRTF personalization. And first, we measured HRTFs from 8 directions in median plane. 0 means that your front, 90 means your top. And we measured also dummy heads, dummy heads HRTF. And in this subjective evaluation, the testers listen all sound data, including your data and also other ones' data and the dummy head data. And then testers answer the direction of the sound. And these graphs shows the results. In this case, horizontal axis is the means truth, and the vertical means testers answers, actual answers. So in this case, these dots, if these dots would be on the blue line, this blue line, we get correct answer. So if you use your own HRTF, so you get correct answers like that. And if you use other person's data or dummy head's data, the personalized this technology does not work. And especially you can see, so please focus on this area. So you can see dramatic effect with the personalization effect, especially on the sound from your the front, the 0°, and also your bottom -30, and also the front upper at +30 degrees. So this is about the technology part.
It's interesting, just of note here, how close the answers are with the dummy head and the generic version.
Yeah,
RTF
yes.
versus the personalized.
Yes.
So many there are, many companies are doing that right now, and and Sony has as well, getting to this point of using the composite of a huge sample of ears to try to be able to to try to come up with some generic that works. That graph is very interesting to show that that's very close to a dummy head, which is about as generic as it gets.
Yes.
Versus the results that can be achieved from personalized.
Yeah.
Awesome. Toru, do you want to talk technology at all, or anything? You want to talk about the development of how you got to these measurements, or went down this path to create this system? I speak fast.
Yeah.
Too.
So yeah, this is maybe you pointed that correctly. So typical, my experience is also same. Typical, when I 10 years ago, I listened such kind of product, but always I cannot feel in the front image for me. So why should happen? Why it happened? I think, and it may be different. My ear shape or body shape is very different from typical person. And through this experience, my experience, I start to develop microphone first, then expand to playback software and headphone technology, headphone itself.
Is there anything you want to say about the development of the microphone? So let's talk about that real quick. Special microphone, pickup pattern, sensitivity, noise floor, etc. Anything you want to say about the microphone used for this?
Yes. Typically, some university or company maybe use major on personalized HRTF, but our specialty is our microphone achieve open type for ear canal entrance. So this open type ear microphone can capture the reflection from eardrum too. So we think this open type microphone for personalized HRTF is more better than closed type.
Interesting. So actually something I hadn't thought about. So you have to deal with, so obviously the more in your ear it is, the better that it's getting the shape, and all of the characteristics of one's ear, but that also puts it closer to the eardrum where there may be reflections. You measure the timing of the reflections. Is that something that's helpful to try to remove? Is that something that's additive to the sound? If you bring something in, does it increase the low frequency in the ear when the microphone is closer proximity, like a speaker to a wall, for example? Or that's handled with your software, you're able to take those measurements into account?
Yeah, yes, I think so. So the point is, if closed type means typically microphone, when you insert microphone, it closes in a ear canal overall. So you cannot capture inside of ear canal and the deflection of eardrum. But if open type, it can be open in ear canal and can capture the deflection of eardrum. so it's more accurate. And HRTF also different between open type and closed type.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, great. Actually, in sideways, speaking of just open type, made me think that the headphones are open back headphones as well, but those also present less challenges for listening. Cupped here headphones have other issues. Let's talk about how the software is, or how this is used. So this can be used in any DAW. How would one end up inserting the profile using their HRTF into the projects they're working on? DAWs or plugins, or like what type of system is the
Okay, from me, I can answer. So this, after the measurement is done, so profile is loaded into the VME software. Maybe Koyuru have an interface, and he's gonna explain later. But to use any DAWs, so software of the VME virtual mixing environment software can send and out. Receive from the DAW output. Actually speaker connection into the softwares. Then virtualize using a personal profile, then playing back to the headphone. So Koyuru, you have a slide of actual interface of 360 VME software, right? So maybe it's good for the explain about it.
awesome.
Okay. So may I share screen from me or Toru-san? What do you think?
Okumoto-san, please.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Go ahead, Toru-san.
Yes, thank you. From now, I will explain 360 VME software. Next page, please. Yes, this is a 360 virtual mixing environment announced article, and sorry for a small size character, but you can see the we announced software, dedicated software to achieve 360 VME. Okimoto-san already mentioned we need scan at studio first, then user can get software and profile data after scan from and these software and profile provide from studio. So I will explain this dedicated software for playback with 360 VME. Next page, please. So first, I will explain the setup, VME software setup. So you can see the left figures, and here are the 360 VME software basic settings. And if you want to use 360 VME with 360 reality audio, first set up 360 VME audio driver, which is our virtual audio driver, and for the output of Workmix Creator. In addition to that, next is set the VME audio driver to the input of 360 VME standalone software, and the output to the headphone is the so output of 360 VME standalone software is the headphone output of your audio interface. And
Nakagawa-san, can I talk a little bit about this one? So basic setup.
sure.
So So we need, modify or, improve this more, easy way to understand that. So left side hand of, basic setup is, you need to, think about it like this. So workstation plugin and playback of the each speaker output, for example, like 360, 13 speaker output into virtual, VME audio devices, okay? So all speaker output through the virtual audio driver, then going to the software. Then using software, we're gonna provide or we're gonna apply the profile. Then at the end, from the software, output is just a stereo, 2-channel. So that's why any DAW can work with the 360 VME virtual mixing environment software. This is a basic setup.
Great. Thanks,
Thank
Hiro.
you for
You know, one thing I
support.
noticed about, and I'll say, and when we can go on, I don't want to interrupt you in your thought process, but looking at the software, like I said, I got a chance to see it and experience it, Hiro, with you, and knowing that it can be personalized further beyond the listening. First thing I did as a control freak was wanted to sit down and make adjustments to the EQ just a little bit, and it really did make a difference. And I felt like I could, I could dial it in a little bit beyond the measurement, and I really. I thought that was, for one, appreciative of that, but I thought that was very thoughtful to know that a measurement is a measurement, but it's still not necessarily, the most comfortable way to listen. Maybe it's not what we're looking for to be able to know what decisions as engineers we're making. It's all about, it's the familiarity more so than it is the flatness or something trying to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be what you need to be able to make good decisions. And the fact that this was adaptable in that sense, to me, after the fact, I wasn't locked into just the profile that I got. It was also the fact that I could go in and tweak it a little bit, which gave me another step of reality closer.
Yes. So, as you already seen that, presentation from Koyuru, so each, person's, HRT is totally different. And also, even me, when I put into the microphone correctly or like a shift off or little deeper or other side, so it affects of the all the data. So that's why when you measure of the profile, so there is some function of the adjustment, final adjustment of the speaker playback and headphone playback is accurately same. So maybe Koyuru has another slide for explain that.
Okay.
So Koyuru, maybe go into the next page. You have 3 pillars, 3 different interface of the softwares. Maybe that
sorry, I want to add more information.
Yeah.
Sorry. So this software can support Windows and Mac, but first our service will start end of June. And first is only Mac, but Windows will is planned for fall this year.
Okay.
And we of course we recommend MDR MV1 is best for this technology, but we also support M1ST and the Z1R and the Z7M2. Okay, thank you.
Great.
Go to next page, please.
Yeah, let's go to the next slide. Oh, perfect.
Okay, Hiro, you can grab
Yeah,
it.
so this slide shows you, Michael, your question and what I explained earlier. So far left side of the function is you can see the deep reverb function on the bottom. After you profile is loaded into this program, so you can change over the 3 different sliders here. So if you feel like too live, so you can reduce the reverberation time with these sliders, and also we set up the different kind of lengths or something like that. You can see the parameters, and middle and the right side and the bottom is in EQ. So even though we put into the microphone deeper and a very quiet situation, we're gonna great accurate profile we can took, but perfectly match with the speaker playback and headphone playback is maybe need some more adjustment. So in that case, this software have monitoring EQ function inside. So totally 7 band, 5 band, peak limit and 2 band shelf EQs inside. And also you can see the channel output and also input level from the DAWs up to like a 16.
Actually, here, I was just about to ask you that about handling the number of speakers rather than, 13.0, 15 or 17 or, the different configurations with the Sony speaker setup. You can handle all of them and it knows.
Yeah. So, multiple in the professional audio, area is maybe each channel is kind of one unit. So I know this software is up to 16 channel. So in case of the 360 is 13 speaker, but some studios have more speakers. So because the 360 DIT audio is object based. So if you want more speaker, it can be added. So in that case, up to 16 speakers, we can use and we can measure and we can use that profile in this software.
Excellent. Any more on this slide?
Yes.
In addition, that left here and the top shows the picture, studio picture, and this is and you can see that for the picture after you got profile, you load profile to this part, this for the Mac, and you can show the condition of profile. So first is 1.4 is customer ID, and the second is measurement place, and the third is which headphone used in a scan, and the third is format, and finally shows the expiry date.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And these all function we collect opinion from internal Sony creator like Sony Pictures Entertainment, Sony Music Studio, and the PlayStation Studio.
Well, actually, let's talk about that for a second. Well, I saw something in the second screen. I see that you can mute and solo each channel, and you can, or in the center section there. You mentioned Sony and PlayStation and others. Have you been using this? Has this software been in use, throughout other types of media? So instead of necessarily music, games, movies, things like that, have you been using and testing this software for a while? Has it been integrated into other Sony media companies?
Koyuru, Toru, I had some movies. It's been used. Please explain.
Yeah, of course. So first, we already provided the BME to Sony Pictures, and they utilized our technology. For example, the 2021, the Ghostbusters and the Venom, the new Venom movie, and also the Uncharted, and also Spider-Man No Way Home, and the big TV shows that they are utilizing our technology. And of course, currently we are providing our tool to the PlayStation Studios for beta testing, and that we have a lot of PlayStation Studio all over the world. So we are currently expanding our technology to this area.
As a production tool, I can see that could be very powerful, especially when you've got multiple people working on the same game or same movie. Being able to have a common platform, like listening in the same room, understanding what the sound is, and everybody's, you want to be on the same playing field. You want to understand that, what somebody else is hearing and what you're hearing in a known quantity, known space.
Yeah.
I bet the efficiency of work really speeds up sort of the efficiency and accuracy of the work done on headphones.
Yeah, so ideally they are using the mixing studio to check their mix and they exchange their notes. But so it's a very difficult to gather the lot of people at the studio. And currently, so we are providing our to recreate the virtually. So at the remote location to fill the same space, so they can exchange notes using our tools. Like they are physically in the same room. So it's very useful, I think.
You know, one of the things we talked about in when we were at NAMM, and we were sitting there with George Massenberg and Frank Filippetti. So the five of us were sitting there talking about this and looking at ways that, ways to up efficiency and accuracy and, sort of better produce material, things that we're working on. And one of the things I think George mentioned, I thought was awesome, was that the forensic work needed to look at catalog records when we're pulling back records and we're like, let's say, mixing records that have, that are so known to us. Maybe the notes weren't the greatest. Maybe the vocal was comped together. Maybe there aren't any notes, recreating and coming back to trying to find a mix, being able to actually sit there and accurately in headphones, put the time in to find the parts and do the work to make the mix great. That this was such a tool to be able to help with, assistance, with referencing, with the forensic work, with doing catalog records, things like, and even things moving forward. But the amount of work that could get done, collaboratively with headphones, it opens up a great world. Another thing that came up in the conversation was teaching, was looking at doing instruction and teaching. Beyond usage concepts and even more so than just mixing concepts, maybe that there are spatialization, putting oneself in a particular space to accomplish a certain task. How do you see this moving forward? Do you see this being used beyond the music world? We've talked about movies and games, but do you see this getting to the everyday engineer and then on to necessarily maybe the consumers, or maybe alternate markets of needing to be aware of a sense of three-dimensional, 360-degree space in a sound profile? Does that make sense, Hiro? Yeah, or anybody? Where do you see this going to? Is there a plan moving forward with? Where would you like to see this in a year, 2 years, 5 years?
Yeah. So one is so we talked about at the NAMM. So the one possibility is kind of at the educational area. So if the students utilize our technology, they can learn about the mixing, the very casually and the more easily. So I think it's really useful for students. And also that this technology is also useful for not the professionals, for us, the engineers, so researchers, and So for example, we have listening rooms in Tokyo, and so we need to work at home and also at the offices, and we can recreate our reference listening room acoustics on headphones at my home. So that is additional the benefit for us.
I don't see there any questions in the Q&A, so I'm just going to keep asking questions till somebody else does, if you guys are cool with that. I think you had some questions for me, so maybe we'll get to that here in a second.
Yeah.
But the first thing I was going to say is, as a usage, then something else I see as hugely beneficial is, at least for me at a studio, being able to not only understand the profile here, but my clients, a reference for my clients that will be sitting here, maybe checking out or auditioning, workflow or speakers or adjustments or mixes or anything like that, but then be able to send them home with a reference of them sitting in the same chair I'm sitting in, so that we're on the same level as far as even talking about referencing, for releases, getting music out there, and making that process more accurate and predictable from an artist or a label or an engineer or producer standpoint, with what it's like to be sitting in this chair throughout the session. So I think that's a huge usage case. Maybe that's before it gets to the consumers, that you're looking at a way to, engage the professional process of releases even before it gets to trying to incorporate this in consumer devices.
Yeah, Michael. So yeah, it's correct, and I agree. So again, this year, we're going to start these services and as a proof of concept, and we are starting with a limited number of the studio, but for the future, we're going to expand not only just a commercial studio and like Koyuru, you said, like an educational or facility like a university, college, of course, and like you said, it's an once you have your client at your studio, beautiful studio, and sitting next to each other, and adjusting the final like a mastering stuff, then measure at your studio. So end of the day, so VME virtual mixing environment software, if client side has also same things, so you can do it in the remote approval things.
Yeah, I think that makes I think that actually makes the process smoother, easier, and you're on the same page. When you're talking about something, it sounds like this, feels like this, you're doing it from a known quantity, or at least both parties are in a sort of similar agreement.
Yes. So during this fiscal year, so we'd like to explore any kind of a possibility of utilizing this 360 virtual mixing environment.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Hiro, go ahead. It's all you.
No. It's almost 10 minutes. So 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So maybe Koyuru has some finalized slide or Toru. I forgot which one, but maybe talking about a little bit of the headphone.
Yes, if you guys want to talk about that.
Then going to the Q&A.
Perfect. Perfect.
Thank you. So again, I want to explain more about MDR MV1. Next page, please. So announcements again, and you can see the why this article shows MDR MV1 is best headphone for 360 VME. So I want to explain why it is best we think. Next page, please. Yes, next page, please. In principle, 360 VME allows you to hear through the speaker even though you are only playing through the headphone. Therefore, the speaker HRTF characteristics from the speaker to microphone must be reproduced with the headphone on. So the headphone characteristics must be cancelled. So there have three major headphones requirements to optimize for 360 VME. First, you can see the top figure. First is a headphone has open back acoustic structure. When playback special sound source with headphone, the sound field is vertically reproduced by performing signal processing at the source and with HRTF. By adapting on open back acoustic structure, it does not acoustically close the housing. The reflected sound inside the headphone is reduced. That's why more accurate playback with HRTF. Bottom figure, let's move to bottom figure. Second is sound headphones should have a flat frequency response with as little coloration as possible. In any case, if the headphone characteristics are to be cancelled, it is better to have such headphone characteristics in the for this headphone. Bottom figure. Let's move to bottom figures. Third is third requirement is we need to reduce difference between when the headphone characteristics are measured and scanned and when they are playback as much as possible, because it is difficult to scan headphone characteristics over and over again. For doing this, we think about the size, position, and the material of ear parts are designed to avoid contrast between the ear parts and the inner opening of the ear parts and the ear itself. Sony has a long, very huge amount of database of head size and ear position and shapes and other. So using these database information, we optimize ear part size and shape and the headphone mechanic shape. So that's why we recommend this headphone for 360 VME. Thank you.
Understood. I do see, thank you. And I see a question from Catherine. Catherine in the chat, for in-room playback, are there differences in the Sony 360 speaker configuration to Dolby Atmos and other immersive configurations? And if so, what are they? Or can they be, can the same speaker setup be used? That's a deep question. There are, we have videos and there's information out there because we only have a few minutes left about the different speaker configurations. The setups are different. There are different speaker count and configurations and types of configurations. But in short, I'll say, you know, they're not interchangeable. They have different goals, but you can use, like with the WalkMix Creator software, you can map the speaker positions, map objects to known speaker positions, elevation and azimuth and placement. I will say that on a regular basis, I have to do, you know, delivering, as far as masters go, look at delivering a 360 file with an Atmos file, you know, not unlike having to deliver a CD master and an LP master. So knowing how they translate back and forth or how to be able to incorporate a particular speaker setup. They can be, one can map the speaker positions of one to the other and be able to function. I actually currently have actually both speaker setups set in here, so I can do that on speakers, but you can map the software to different speaker setups if that helps answer your question, Catherine. And I would say for specifics on where each of those are, oh, that's perfect, perfect on the screen to see the 360 speaker setup. I hope that helps answer your question.
Yeah, this is a 13 channel minimum recommendation to us. Again, 360 reality audio is all object based, but to set up the speaker accurate speaker monitoring space. So basic ITU standard 5 channel in the ear level and 5 channel upper, like in a chart is a green. Green is a front, sorry, ear level, and red is an upper 5 channel. And it's only front. Blue box is a 3 in front, center, left, and right. So that is 13. But again, it's configurable. And thank you, Michael. So it's going to be using our plugin software. Yeah, you can actually set up.
Which is great. Which makes it totally flexible for people to be able to use what works for them and to understand. So thank you for that. Koyuru, I can say it. Make sure I get it correct. I'm sorry. You said you had some questions. You were going to ask me some questions. You're going to turn that. You said you wanted to flip this around a little bit. We have a few minutes left. Do you want to hit me with some questions?
Yeah. So you already mentioned about the possibility of technology, but so I'd like to know that so what kind of work can you use our technology for? Please let me know. So your thoughts. Using the particular examples, so for your creation.
You know what? I'll say that real quick too, and I also want to give just a quick maybe feedback on my experience. I will say that getting into the room and getting measured and then listening, and you played back stuff that I worked on, so I knew it very well, and so be able to listen to it. I got to say it was the first time you're talking about the median plane and the listening and looking at that chart and seeing the below speaker accuracy and the front, which is where 369 speakers in front of you, there's a presence here. It's meant to do that way. That was the first time I've been able to localize in a headphone playback the verticality like that, having the low speakers. I knew there was stuff coming out of low speakers in front of me on the speakers, and I'm on headphones and I'm listening to this, and it actually came out of where I expected it to in the same fashion. So gotta say, super impressed how accurate that localization was. Usage for me, I got to say that like beyond being a workaholic, also move around a little bit. I travel when I can, or I go teach in colleges, or I do things. NAM is another example, or AES. I was just in Mexico and AES Mexico. And of course, every time I go out of town or I go somewhere, I've got something I've got to work on or finish up or do a tighten up on or something. And being able to take my room with me to make final adjustments or even a final QC as a consumer in that sense. I mean, it's an invaluable tool to be able to meet clients' deadlines and be able to be on demand really whenever they want, because that's what they want. Everybody engineer on this list knows that, like, when somebody says, hey, I need to get this done and here's a deadline, like, you got to make the deadline. And having something like this that I can carry with me and be wherever I am.
Yeah, please use it. Yeah,
It's
please
huge.
use it. Please use it and give me us a lot of feedback.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and again, like having my assistant be sitting here and have the same profile and say, hey, are you hearing this? Or saying, hey, check this out, or let's tighten this up, or let's do this, or whatever. So, I as a collaboration tool and as a mobile environment to be able to continue to work, it actually allows me to, to serve my clients and teach more or do more or be present. So great question. I'll give you my feedback I know we're doing this. Once we get back, I'll tell you exactly how it works for me, and then we can go from there. So yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Any other for me, or does anybody, Hiro, do you have anybody? It looks like we're kind of getting to the end and there's actually no questions in the Q&A.
Maybe it's a too technical some part. So, but maybe trying and believing. So, please check out the studios, starting with these services coming soon.
Yeah, I highly recommend, folks, that if you can get to a spot where you can get measured, do so. Will you be doing that at AES this coming year, or any chances between now and, let's say, October, that you'll have, let's say, a mobile setup, or at a convention or something like that, where people who are not necessarily in New York or Tokyo or whatever can get there?
Yep.
Okay. Well, maybe so. Will you be posting maybe something on a website or something, like to say, hey, we're going to be at AES, come get your.
Yeah, Michael, let me add just a little bit. So May 20th, and we'll be in Nashville. So we're gonna do some kind of a little test and private demo.
Yeah.
And also 2 studios, and we are working with New York and LA. So we are now planning to the kind of a launch or like a starting event. So yeah, New York people and LA people, so they can test it and learn that. And also, yeah, we are planning to do another opportunity, test this trial of a VME measurement somewhere.
I know you were going to be in Nashville. I was prompting you to, hoping you would say that out loud. Are you going to open up any kind of sign-ups timeframes where people who are in Nashville can come by if it's a private listening? But I know there's a Mix Magazine is putting on an immersive event, and you're going to be
we
there.
are explaining, but unfortunately, we are now it's planning to actually we can do it or not. So we cannot say, but maybe if we have the chance, we can do. So yeah, please come to the Nashville and sign up and testing of the VME. Yeah, around that time.
Awesome. Yeah. I highly recommend anybody that's in Nashville for that event, please go check it out.
Yeah, Mixed event. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. Just a couple real quick questions, and then Maureen, I'm going to pass it back over to you. Does this work? Okay, so John Shiflett says, Jim Shiflett says, does this work with the Sony XM5 headphones? I saw that there were some other Sonys on there in that list and that you had, but it was too small for me to see. Were the XM5s on there?
Yeah, XM5. Yeah. So,
okay.
But as Toru mentioned, at this point, we have very limited number like this, and for 3 other headphone models. So unfortunately, XM5, it's not on the list at this point.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Got it. Understood. And Ron, to your question, coming to Toronto, maybe you got to make a trip to New York, but maybe keep tabs on the website. Hiro, if you want to take
we'll
Ron's,
ask for change. We'll ask for planning. But sorry, at this point, I cannot say yes. So we'll be determined.
if you want to stay in touch, or if you've got Ron's information, maybe let him know or something. Maybe there's a way, Ron, to check in and see about that coming to your town. So. Gentlemen, I think that's about it. I know that we're kind of running out of time, but I really appreciate you getting up early in the morning and in Japan and being here available for us. And Hiro, once again, always great to see you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your wisdom and sharing this information with us and all your questions. And with that, Maureen, thank you.
Yeah, just thank you for getting up in the middle of the night to do this. And it's amazing technology. And to hear in the intros how long you've been working on perfecting this is fascinating. So thank you very much for everything you do in your work. And thanks for being here with us today. I want to let people who are watching know that all of these this 4-part series on Sony 360 will be posted. It's going to take us a while. We have to, clean it up and do a few things to it, but it'll be posted on the Recording Academy YouTube site, where we have several other series of immersive audio videos as well. So you can see it there. Thanks for coming and watching today. Was there one more question there? Was there one we didn't answer?
Oh, no, I think that was
Looks
just
like
a thank you, but then.
A thank you. There's a couple of thank yous in the Q&A.
Actually, so I see Rob Friedrich is there. Hey, Rob. And so speaking of Culpeper really quick, so the AES Restoration and Archival Conference there. Hiro, are you guys going to be at that conference?
From my team, Gus Skinas, he will be there. And
Gus.
some other Tokyo engineer folks and also join. Yes.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Be great to see Gus there.
So thanks to all, and thanks to Michael for his
Thank you.
intelligent moderation.
Very flexible and very great.
Well, and thank to everybody who tuned in to be here present for this. So thank you so
All
much.
right.
Thank
Bye
you.
for now, everyone.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very much.
So much.
Bye.